So the Whole Horse and Josuke short of spinoff thing that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is doing right now just dropped. And firstly, I did not expect this to be an actual series. I thought it would be a one-shot. So seeing that this is actually going to continue has me really excited, and I'll probably be covering this more and more as it releases. But I want to give my thoughts on the plot so far, where I think it might be going. I don't really have an idea. It's just there's a lot of potential, and I want to discuss maybe what could happen. So hopefully you enjoy, and I'm very eager to talk about this, so let's get right into it. So for this chapter, we get introduced to basically the entire set piece of what exactly is going to go on. Whole Horse is trying to find this one parrot that the guy who trained Pet Shop, he apparently had a second parrot and it flew away, so he's basically tasked to try and find it. This takes place 10 years after the end of Stardust Crusaders, meaning it takes place in 1999, which is how this segues into Josuke. And I think this is really, really cool because we get a planted sort of time period that this takes place in. So we also get to see that these characters from Stardust Crusaders have grown and are sort of lingering on the idea that Dio is still around. Dio hasn't left us. Something is wrong. And I really like this part of this chapter. I really, really did. There's this entire section where Whole Horse is talking to Mariah, and she is like distraught. And it's honestly really, really intriguing to me. I really liked it. And Whole Horse has some of these moments as well, where he talks about after he tried to kill Dio and Stardust Crusaders, he sort of gave into the fear, and I thought, this is so sick. And he actually still wears 3 watches to see the time differences, and I think that's so awesome. Really, really cool. Whole Horse, he also is traveling with Boingo of the Oingo Boingo brothers, and they only learn about the parrot going there through the manga, and I thought that was really cool as well. A good way to move the plot forward. Eventually, Whole Horse makes it to Morio and bumps into Josuke, because Whole Horse, when he has that sort of moment of PTSD from Dio, has a recollection of Dio controlling the one official in Egypt and taking over the car, something along those lines, but it's obviously not Dio. I just thought that was really cool, and Josuke and Whole Horse meet there. Now, there's another thing I want to bring up as well that has me really interested, like really, really interested. There's this random girl that they introduce. Her name is Ryoko, and she is apparently Kakyoin's cousin. Now, why Kakyoin's grave is in Morio, I don't know. Maybe that was just a close city to wherever Kakyoin actually lived. I don't really know. But I thought that was a really interesting sort of plot thread that they could continue on. I'm not sure how much we're going to get on Kakyoin's involvement in this story, but I think it's neat. Kakyoin is obviously a fan favorite character that a lot of people like, and I think that this has a lot of potential. Plus, I do think it's really cool. After I learned that she is Kakyoin's cousin, I looked back to the first panel that had her shown, and she has the exact same sort of hairstyle with that one piece of hair sort of drooping in front of her face. I think that's a really good through line between the two characters. And the thing that has me the most intrigued about her is that she's aware of Dio and all these things going on. So it seems like every character is aware of Dio in some sense, and that he is literally like looming over everyone in this story. I think it's really, really cool. There were some other things as well I thought were pretty cool, like Kenny G somehow being alive. Kenny G was the fog stand user right before the Vanilla Ice fight. I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, I just think this is really neat. I like how he changes the setting to be sort of like a restaurant of some kind as well. I thought it was really cool because he had the ability to sort of mess with people's idea of what a room looks like. So I thought that was neat that Mariah and Whole Horse were talking in a little fake diner. And that's really all the stuff I have for the summary. So let's get into some things I assume will happen. Firstly, I would love to see more of Ryoko. Absolutely. I think she has a lot of potential, especially because she somehow knows about Dio. I think that is a really, really cool plot thread you can jump off of, and maybe have her intrinsically connected to Whole Horse, because Whole Horse, being sort of a womanizer, would probably bump into her at some point. Now, for Josuke's involvement in the story, he literally was just shown at the end, and we saw Crazy Diamond, and he knows Hol Horse is a stand user immediately, so they at least know each other's, abilities. But the thing is, Josuke just showed up. He literally does like nothing throughout the whole chapter. Like, Hol Horse is the main focus character for what I assume to be going forward, but the series is named after Crazy Diamond, which is what has me confused. Josuke will probably be more important in whatever happens next in the story, seeing he is as much of a title character as Hol Horse, but I'm very excited to see what happens. Now, I keep thinking about Okuyasu's dad when I see this chapter, because maybe that bird has some sort of like flesh bud thing. I doubt it, because I don't know if he would put the flesh buds into birds, but Dio's pretty messed up. He abused animals already, he might do it again. And the idea of the flesh bud keeps getting brought back into the story, obviously with Kakyoin's involvement and him introducing the concept of the flesh bud, Mariah saying, I didn't even have one, but I still have that feeling like I have to obey him. I think it's pretty neat. I don't know if this idea will be brought back, but Okuyasu's dad, the flesh bud, is what turned him into a monster. So perhaps the bird will get turned into a monster from this as well, if, it has one. So I think that sort of plot idea is very possible, because they keep bringing it up, and every character that's brought up has mentioned it. So I think that would be really cool. And yeah, I don't really have a specific idea of where the plot is going to lead to this parrot, except possibly Okuyasu's dad and the flesh bud and all that stuff. But I'm very excited. I think this has a ton of potential. I also know that they're releasing a Jolene. Maybe it's a series as well, but I heard it was a one-shot, so that would be really cool. I'm going to try and do a video on that one as well, because, I'm just excited. It sounds interesting. And yeah, so I'm curious, what do you all think of this chapter and what the story could, do moving forward? I think it's really cool, and seeing that part 4 is one of my favorite parts. I love seeing Morio again, and hopefully we get to see more characters as well. And that's my last thing, Jotaro showing up. I assume it'll happen, especially since Hol Horse is involved in part 3 stuff and Kakyoin and everything. It'd be really cool to see his viewpoint on this stuff 10 years later. Obviously, we know his kind of messed up after part 3, so maybe him lingering on those feelings, I don't know. A lot of potential. Anyway, that's it from me. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate the support, and I would love to know your thoughts on where the story is going to go down below. Hopefully you enjoyed, and have a good one.